Hi guys, welcome back to our first week lab exercise. Last video we just showed that how we can use read.csv function to read the price of the stocks from a CSV into R as a data frame objects, and then how we can use the transform function to convert to perform some kind of operations or apply some other functions on certain column in the data frame and transform it. So in this video we are going to compute the return of stocks. So what do? We start by creating a data frame object to store the returns. First of all, we're going to use the matrix function to generate an empty matrix with NA as the values. The dimension, we are going to use the exact same dimension except one less row because we're differencing, right? The return is differencing between two dates, two price. So one less row is compared to the original data set. And for the names of the dimensions, we know that the row is going to use dates, right? So it's going to be we'll just simply make it as null because we're going to give explicitly a column of dates, just like the price or in the S1. For the column names, we'll also for simplicity we'll just borrow from the S1. If you type it on console, you know that it's going to be dates, price, blah blah blah, something like that. And then if we run, and after we create this matrix, we'll convert it as a data frame. So now let's hit this, and it returned silently. It didn't print out anything, right? But if we would like to make sure the object we just created is what we want, we use stir function, and we see that it's a data frame. There are 3,882 observation, which is one less than the price of the stocks in the DS1 data frame objects. So now we generate the container, right? Now let's compute the return and then store it back. We could do it one by one for each column like this, and you can see that the price of AAN is computed if you just hit this first column. If you enter the command like this and do it one by one. But you know that it's not going to be efficient if there are a list of stock you want to calculate the returns. In this case, we can use sapply or lapply functions. I'll show it to you. You can check out the R documentations. It basically take a list as the first input. Data frame can be considered as a list because each element as a list of each element is a column, and then apply the function which will be provided as the second argument. Like this one, the second argument function is going to be provided. It can be built-in, it can be anomalous like this one, and then starting from third argument, is simply provided as the input of the functions we are given on the second part, except if you're providing something like simplify user.names, then that's another story. So what sapply do is simply apply the function you give out in the second element, in the second argument, on each element of the list you provided here. So let's hit it, and I will show it. You can actually get what it meant by seeing the result. So we apply this function to every elements, to every columns in the DS1 objects, except for the first column, which makes sense because there's no way we differencing the dates, right? Like it's meaningless. And after we run this command, and we saw the head and the tail, like the first few observations and last few observations the first part of the object and the last part of the object, let's put it this way. We see the return is calculated, and we would like to assign the date. And let's have a look again. Now even the date is replaced. But the problem is like we're not sure like what we compute is right. Like so, let's do some manual checkup. We look at the price, the data frame containing prices, and let's compute the using the first two value of AAM price, and see if the return we get is exactly the same. And as you compare the RET and the score 1, is computed correctly. So yeah, and so we already get the return of the stocks using the price of stocks from DS1 objects. So and by now we have two objects created in this global environment. And you can see it here, like DS1 and RET1, and you can use another function called ls as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's pause here.